Some emails, they should just never be sent. But then there are others. Others that accidentally reveal a whole world of elite power games that we were never, ever supposed to see. And today, we're diving headfirst into both. Hello, fellow nerds, policy geeks, and professional email stalkers. Welcome back to the Deep Dive podcast, where we explore all the things the internet probably shouldn't have access to, but here we are. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood chronicler of elite mistakes, and today, oh boy, today we're digging into the email chains that prove some very famous people are just like the rest of us, awkward, desperate, and occasionally morally questionable. Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. We're talking about emails, romance tips, and yes, the intersection of Wall Street, Harvard, and the Chinese bureaucracy. Basically, everything that makes you go, why do I even try to be normal?
So, let's kick things off with a premise so utterly bizarre it sounds like it was ripped from a rejected spy comedy. I'm talking about elite romance consulting.
Yeah, you heard that right. Recently exposed documents have brought to light a partnership that is, well, bizarre is putting it mildly. It turns out that the notorious financier Jeffrey Epstein was apparently adding a new, deeply unsettling line to his resume, elite romance consultant.
Now, this brings up a pretty logical question, right? Who on earth would look at that particular background and think, yes, that's the guy. That's the one I need to get relationship advice from?
Well, the answer, and you might want to sit down for this, is Larry Summers. Yes, that Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary, former president of Harvard, a man who literally helped shape American economic policy, was apparently asking for help with his love life. And this, my friends, is where the story goes from just strange to truly, deeply surreal. So, here's the tea. The documents show that Summers sought Epstein's advice on how to initiate, let's call it a strategically intimate relationship, with Jin Keyu, an economist and the daughter of a very powerful Chinese official. Now, before you start picturing some kind of clandestine romance in a Harvard library, let's just be real about the absurdity here. We're talking about a man who gives speeches on macroeconomic growth asking, so how do I network horizontally? And yes, he actually used the term getting horizontal. I mean, the disconnect is just incredible, isn't it? It's crude bar talk slang, being used by a Harvard intellectual talking to a billionaire financier about the daughter of a top Chinese official. It perfectly captures the cringeworthy transactional reality of this entire affair.
Okay, so to really understand what's going on, we have to stop thinking of these people as just people. We need to see them for what they really are, archetypes in a global power game. So let's break down our cast of characters. First up, you've got Larry Summers, the academic royalty. His secret weapon? A Teflon-coated network that makes sure nothing ever sticks. Then you have Jin Keyu, the princeling propagandist, whose power comes from something the Chinese call pindiye, basically relying on dad. And the guy connecting them? Jeffrey Epstein, the global wingman, whose real currency wasn't money but a Rolodex of desires, a network built on knowing what powerful people wanted. Let's be absolutely clear about this. This was never about romance, not even close. This was a transaction. It was a cold, hard calculation of power and influence, just disguised in some really, really awkward emails. And this quote from the source material just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly sums up the dynamic at play. This is a game of harvesting and being harvested. It's a world built entirely on mutual opportunism. So how does this game of harvesting actually work? Well, it's pretty simple. Jin offers access to the rising power of the Chinese state. In return, Summers offers a golden ticket into the American establishment. We're talking Wall Street, D.C., and of course, the prestige of Harvard. The goal wasn't a relationship. It was a cross-border merger of power. Quick break from all this elite drama for a second. If you enjoy laughing at rich people's mistakes as much as I do, please hit subscribe. Leave a review if you want, or don't. Your indecision is basically the same as Larry's email advice strategy anyway. And while you're at it, remember, supporting the podcast keeps me fed, caffeinated, and able to dig through more embarrassing emails so you don't have to. All right, so you've got to be wondering, why does someone like Larry Summers always seem to just get away with it? To figure that out, we have to look at the system that's built to protect him. It's because he isn't just part of the establishment. He's basically royalty. Get this. He is directly related to 2 different Nobel Prize-winning economists. He was a tenured professor at Harvard by the time he was 28. This network makes him like a Teflon pan. Scandals just don't stick, because protecting him means protecting the system itself.
Now here's where things get really fascinating. The source material forces us to make this bizarre comparison. On the surface, Summers and Trump look like total opposites, right? The ultimate insider versus the supposed outsider. But if you dig just a little deeper, you see they share a core DNA. They're both known bullies. They both display their power in a really crude way, and both have a well-documented history of disrespect towards women. They're just two different products of the exact same corrupt system. And the stage for so much of this drama? Harvard University. The source material points out that some Chinese officials have called it the second party school, a place to train their bureaucrats and park their kids, the princelings. It's kind of morphed from this temple of academia into a transactional marketplace where global influence is bought and sold. And Larry Summers? He was a key gatekeeper in that whole system. So let's zoom out. What does this one incredibly awkward, creepy story really tell us about the much, much larger global game being played right over our heads? Well, it reveals the existence of this seamless, transnational crony network. See, globalization didn't just connect our markets. It allowed the elites to merge their interests across government, academia, and business, creating this borderless power structure where, guess what? Everybody at the top profits. And here's the crucial takeaway. We like to think there are these firewalls between systems, right? Between democracy and authoritarianism, between US interests and Chinese interests. But in this elite network, those firewalls are a total illusion. They just dissolve in the face of mutual profit and shared power. Ultimately, it paints this really chilling picture of a world that's kind of devoid of ideals, a world where people become like bots, just covered in name-brand prestige from famous universities and corporations, and their only goal is to harvest and be harvested. So, what have we learned today? That even some of the most brilliant minds on the planet can miscalculate basic social interactions. Economics doesn't help with awkward emails, influence doesn't make you charming, and if you think hiring a ghostly advisor with a questionable past is a good idea, congratulations, you're Larry Summers. Huge shout out to our producer, the one and only FireflyHaku, for keeping the lights on, the mics running, and probably silently judging all of us for listening to this episode. Thank you for tuning in, dear nerds. Go forth, check your inboxes, and maybe, just maybe, don't ask someone morally questionable for life advice. See you next time on the Deep Dive podcast, where the absurd, the elite, and the cringe collide.